Played a bit of FIFA 07 yesterday.
Nice.
Which is one of the first FIFAs we had, I think.
Yeah, I think so. FIFA 06 maybe, but
I think we also had the 2002 World Cup game.
Nice.
That we got from a car boot or something.
yeah. How was it? Did it hold up?
The gameplay was much worse than I remembered.
Okay.
Like, all the layout and stuff was how I remembered. I don't know how long it is since I played it. It's not been, 19 years since I played it.
No.
It's been a while. But, yeah, well, it was much worse.
Nice.
I'm not on the latest FIFA normally, but, like, the difference is quite stark. But United have a very good team.
I'm sure we do.
There's also a lot of Premier League managers knocking about.
Oh,
Rob
yeah.
Edwards is at Wolves. Eddie Howe's at Bournemouth.
Nice.
Um,
Mikel Arteta?
Yeah. Guardiola is probably on the game. I don't know where he was playing at that point. But,
No.
Solskjaer's in there.
Yeah.
Carrick, Solskjaer and Carrick are both still at United, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, I was just sort of having a look.
Great.
Retro gaming.
Good soundtrack.
I think so. Yeah, the theme song from The In-Betweeners is on there,
Nice.
which is a banger.
I listened to Black and White Towns the other day, which is the theme to Memorable Moments,
from FIFA 06.
which is
that
on
was,
FIFA 06, yeah. And that's a great song. And a great video.
I've not seen the video. Oh, yeah.
Memorable Moments, yeah. Because obviously it's from an era, only just, but it's a pre-YouTube game.
Yeah.
So the only way to watch football highlights was on a DVD. No, not even a DVD, a video.
Video game.
Like, gaffes and goofs or great goalkeeping mistakes or whatever.
Danny Baker's, football roundup or whatever.
Yeah. So it made sense to put it on there. And it's a good collection.
Yeah,
some great goals in there. I've not played FIFA in a long time. Played the new one. The 20...
not called FIFA anymore.
No,
of course.
famously.
Games come.
FC 26, I think. That's pretty good.
Still pretty much the same.
Yeah,
year on year.
The core loop is pretty fixed at the moment. They're not gonna. They can't really change too much about that because it's football. They've added VAR now and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think so.
I'll have to get it now.
Yeah, I seem to remember for like an offside or something, they showed the VAR. I think they don't like give the wrong decision and then give the right decision,
right.
but they show like the VAR graphics for it and stuff for an offside,
right?
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I've always been more of a career mode man than Ultimate Team.
Yeah, it never appealed
I like
to me.
the immersion, realism. Obviously, not all the signings that I've made have been realistic.
No,
but I saw this guy on TikTok who was doing a series of weird things he used to do on career mode to see if anyone else would do them, like take your goal scorer off on 60 minutes or something so everyone gives him a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Or he would like leave a player out of the team for a few weeks because they'd fallen out with him in training or something.
Nice.
Just to add an extra element.
Yeah, people do that with Football Manager. People wear a suit for a cup final and stuff.
Yeah. They got a touchline ban, they sit in the other room.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of immersion, when they added the video cutscenes for contract negotiations
in FIFA.
Yeah, in FIFA, that was, the best is obviously Petr Cech turning up, still got his helmet on. That's what you need. It's, or the fact that they had to reuse a load of the models. So, like, if you were like a lower league team, sometimes one of your player agents would just be Zidane, and you'd be like, "Oh well, Zidane's here now. It's a bit of moonlighting, Well, it's not. It's not managing Real Madrid." Yeah,
or if you were like, I don't know, League One side trying to loan a United player, the United manager would come to the negotiation.
Solskjaer's in your office. That would happen in real life, I think. Can't see any reason why it wouldn't.
Go to Torquay to a negotiation.
Yeah, I mean, we really lent into the realism on our career modes. Yeah. We had like a fan day at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Kids for a quid. We'd make the manager wear a stupid coat or a funny hat or something because it was the last day of the season.
Yeah,
you got to have these rituals because there's not that much depth in the actual game. It's a vehicle for your own imagination a lot of the time.
Yeah, you can put your own. It's a blank canvas, really.
Yeah, that's where Football Manager sits really nicely, as you can fill in all the gaps yourself. But I think there's something they've killed with the new game is there are gaps aren't there for you to fill in as evidently, and so it just doesn't feel as immersed. Like that's the main issue. Like they fixed a lot of the issues people had with it initially.
Yeah.
Like the graphical issues and like the interface issues and stuff, but the actual design of the game and layout of the game is such that you feel like it's more you're just doing your one specific job rather than existing within a wider world of football. Like, you just don't see that much other stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's more efficient to show you your
Just
team,
your
but
bit.
it's the thing that really sells the game is the sort of story element of it. For some people, and some people are there to win games and
Just
tinker with all the
focus on
tactics
that
and focus
stuff.
on that. And some people want to feel like they're a part of a proper world. That's why there's always people saying they want to be able to rent an apartment or buy a new sports car or something.
Well,
Which
supposedly they might be introducing something like that in future FIFA games because they've got that on the NBA games.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that on your player career where you can, go to the gym and stuff. But and people always say, because as part of the negotiation for a contract on these games, they offer you a salary,
yeah,
and there's nothing. It makes no difference to the gameplay or anything.
yeah, but it's
how much your salary is.
But you don't want to feel like you're getting ripped off, even though you can never spend the money.
You know your worth. But I don't think FIFA needs a way to spend the money.
No, it's innovation for
Sims.
innovation's sense. They're just trying to add new things because, like you say, you can't. There's only so many changes you can make to the football every year, and every time they try and change something drastic about the football, most people hate it.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky landscape to navigate.
I definitely played less FIFA than I used to, but I've just finished a career mode on FIFA 22.
Yeah,
That was there where I had to retire because it'd been 15 seasons.
nice.
I think that took me about 3 years.
Okay.
So previously I could have done that in a few months,
Yeah, but you're.
Life gets in the way,
Oh, I know. Tell me that.
Hello, welcome back to Red Army Reaction, where the train keeps rolling for Man
Choo choo.
United. Another 3 points.
Yeah.
Not the most memorable game of all time. Not the best performance from United, but as we'll see over the next half an hour, it's hard to criticise them too much when they just keep winning.
Absolutely, yeah. There's, the question that needs to be asked at the end of the season is what percentage of the limitations of the current setup are from the squad and what is the limitation from the manager.
Yeah.
I don't think, because we're not playing amazingly. We're playing pretty well the last couple of games. We've done enough to get through them.
Yeah.
It's how do you, what is the path to making this team better? Obviously, we expect the squad to get better in the summer, but is the manager being held back by the squad? Is he absolutely maximising the squad, or is he maximising himself as well to play at this level? Obviously, this level is as good as it needs to be. I'm not saying we need to improve this level, but it's the sort of, when we end up playing a lot more games, how does that translate? But for now, I think everyone is very happy with how it's going. I really can't see much to quibble about.
Yeah. As I said, it wasn't the best of games.
No.
I thought it was very similar to the Palace away game, really, where nothing really happened in the first half apart from Palace scoring a goal from a set piece.
Yeah.
Palace played all right. They kept us out quite well. And then over the course of the second half, Palace fell away from the game. They were clearly tired from playing on the Thursday, and we did just enough to win. We did the bare minimum we needed to win. We were helped by the red card, of course, but
yeah,
like I say, we did the minimum we needed to do to win the game and get all 3 points. It's hard to say, but I imagine if Palace had come at us more, Palace had played better and offered more, we could have then stepped up a level as well. Whereas we did sort of phone it in a little bit and say, right, well, the job's done at 2-1.
Yeah, certainly after the second goal, it felt like we were sort of going through the motions a little bit. And I think we probably did have another gear to go into. But, I think, like you say, Palace started pretty well. But other than the goal they scored, there wasn't a huge amount of threat from them either.
No, I don't remember them having a shot that wasn't straight at Lemons. A shot on target that wasn't straight at him.
Yeah, and there's, obviously tactical things that Carrick could have done differently to sort of help maximise us in that first period, but I think they are sort of tweaks rather than the whole approach is wrong. And, while the system isn't necessarily working, the players are in a position where the basics are enough a lot of the time. Like Maguire is very good at that sort of defending. So if the system isn't keeping the ball high up the pitch and creating a load of chances, Palace putting the ball into the box or trying to pass through the lines, we're more than capable of dealing with that for long periods of time. Maguire and Yoro were solid. I mean, Yoro got a bit done for the goal, but after that, I think he rallied and was solid throughout. Casemiro and Mainu, when Palace have got the ball, I don't think there's any issue with them. I think they get a little bit done on the counter, which we've seen, but there wasn't really a period where that was an issue because Palace had the ball and then Palace were completely neutered, so couldn't really counter at that point. So I think the weaknesses were not exposed and the strengths were enough to get us through. And I think that's been the story of the last couple of games. I think that was the case against Fulham, probably Spurs, but
Everton,
difficult to say about because of how bad Spurs are.
Yeah.
We can sort of do the basics right and throw a bit of quality on top, and it's enough to get us through these games at the moment.
Yeah, I think we've spoken before, particularly when Amorim was here, about raising the floor of the team versus raising the ceiling.
Yeah.
I think Carrick has raised the ceiling a bit, as we've seen against Arsenal and City. I don't know if we had those performances in us under Amorim.
But Amorim did have a couple of them as well.
Yeah, a couple of big games that we really turned up in. But the floor of the team seems to be a lot higher.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, it's still early to say, but it seems like when we're not on it, we're still going to be in the game. We're still going to do the basics right, and we're not going to give it a load of chances or goals away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We might still come a cropper at some point, but so far we seem to just that base level of the team seems to be so much higher.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people might come back to is the ceiling of this team high enough to regularly beat big teams and regularly win enough games to win the league or win a major trophy. But, that's not what's got us to third place. What's got us to third place is the fact that reliably teams come and play different ways and have different threats, and we are able to deal with them effectively week in, week out, and win games reliably.
Reliably beat the teams that we should be beating, that we've got better players than, which wasn't the case before. It's a manager's job to get the best out of the players, and that's what it kept coming back to with Amorim, is he's not getting the best out of a lot of these players.
Yeah, definitely.
But Carrick is certainly giving them a platform to prove that they are better than the opposition, even if we don't blow them away. Over the course of 90 minutes, our quality will normally tell.
Yeah, it was a slightly different lineup this time. We saw Šeško in from the start.
Good to see Šeško start.
Yeah, I think he's what, he's everything you want from a young striker, apart from you don't necessarily want a young striker to have to play every game.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't have to play every game. We've got,
before that under Carrick.
And Burmo's a very useful sort of Swiss Army knife in that role, and he can play in that forward role, but he's not an out-and-out striker. He's not going to do the same job as Šeško, but, in a different way. He's going to do different things. So when you want someone who's going to occupy the centre-halves and be a nuisance and get on the end of crosses, Šeško's the one we've got, and he's very good at it. He's clearly a very technical player. He's got a lot of skills and strings to his bow. His sort of application is not always perfect, and his decision making is not always perfect. But everything, he can do everything he needs to do. It's just applying himself is where the growth for him is going to come. And I think we're all excited to see it. And he's currently playing at a very high level.
Yeah,
in terms of his return as well.
Yeah, and because he was starting, I really wanted him to do well, because we've seen it before, probably, where a player's doing really well off the bench, and then as soon as you give them a start, they don't do very well, and then you think, they're probably better off as an option coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And Šeško had a couple of headers in the first half where they were just sort of quite tame and straight at the keeper.
Yeah.
And he probably could have been taken off before his goal, but I'm very glad he wasn't, and he got the goal we needed.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant cross from Fernandes.
It was, yeah. It was. I mean, there's a great clip if you watch Match of the Day too. Joe Hart did a great.
It's called Sunday's Match of the Day now. Sorry.
Yes, sorry, I meant as well as me. If you watch, Joe Hart did a great piece on Bruno Fernandes and Šeško and sort of coaching on the pitch. And if you're a striker, you want to have that symbiotic relationship with your number 10,
absolutely.
And there's no number 10 in the world better to have that growing a relationship with, because if you go where Bruno expects you to go, he will find you reliably, and he will, if you're on the same wavelength, there's no one in world football who will create better chances for you than him. So There's a couple in the first half, like you say, the header that was straight at the keeper. That Dean Henderson's a good keeper, but he wasn't worked and wasn't stretched initially. And then second half, Fernandes picks the ball up and it's a great cross, and Šeško reads it perfectly and gets that across his man more aggressively. Good header into the bottom corner, not sort of a safe header to make sure it's on target.
Yeah,
It's the things that we've been wanting to see from him, and he's growing as a player, and that's, I think we'll hopefully reach the end of the season where Šeško is reliably a better striker than he was at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And that's what you expect from a 23-year-old player, and that's not always been the case. And certainly we've had seasons, I don't think Kobbie Mainoo's going to leave this season a better player than he was at the start of the season. He's playing well, but he's not developed because of his game time and, the coaching that was there initially. So you want a player of his age, because so often players come into the team and expect it to be the finished solution. And we knew that wasn't the case with Šeško. He's never had a 20-goal season. He's never played in a league like in the Premier League. So we knew he was going to have to improve in order to become the player that we needed him to be. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing him develop, and it's good to see. It's what we want to see.
Yeah, if you look at his goal-scoring numbers, compared from since Carrick's come in to before, they're just ridiculously better.
Yeah.
He scored about 3 times as many goals under Carrick as he did before Carrick came in. Carrick and Fletcher.
Yeah.
But he's starting less games than he was.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of minutes per goal, it must be astronomically better. And then also, you look at the Burnley game, he scored both of our goals in a 2-2 draw. He got the winner against Fulham, late equaliser against West Ham, winner against Everton, winner against Palace. They're all crucial goals. He's not scoring the third goal in the 3-0.
No, it's...
And that really builds your confidence, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he said a lot about that feeling of scoring a last-minute winner at the Stretford end. That's an amazing feeling for a striker, and now he's got 3 winners for us.
Yeah, and it builds that relationship with the fans as well. That I think didn't help Højlund. That I think, obviously, the Old Trafford fans love a number 9 and love a striker, and there's no better way. They will absolutely support any number 9 who comes through, because that's the player that you want to see scoring goals, and they love seeing a striker scoring goals. But a lot of Højlund's early goals came in Champions League games that we lost, and so they got forgotten, quite a lot of them. Whereas the
overwhelming feeling is that we've not won the game. It's not, wow, Højlund was brilliant today.
Yeah, because we've come, we went out in the group stage. We were dreadful week in, week out in the Champions League, and Højlund was quite good in sort of undercurrent of that. Onana basically undid everything good he did, and so you don't have that bond with a striker, because the feeling, you associate the good feelings of the last few weeks. So much of that you associate with Šeško, because he's the one getting the goals and celebrating. And it's someone described Richarlison as the most striker most likely to pick the ball out of the back of the net, because all of his goals are meaningless. They're all consolation goals.
I mean, Spurs don't score many other types of goals at the minute, but him particularly.
Yeah, there was like 4 examples where he scored a late equaliser and then the other team has still won, or he scored a late winner and the other team has then equalised. It just happens to him.
Taking his shirt off when he scored a late winner and then it's been ruled out.
Yeah, he's just, and that breeds contempt within a fan base as opposed to adoration. And Šeško's got a really good run now of these goals that mean, and it helps that he's a big, tall, strapping, handsome, charismatic centre forward who's got a good celebration. He
can jump really high.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. He's a very marketable player. The fans really, go for that sort of thing, and so he's. I'm not going to say he's a fan favourite.
No, it's probably too early for that.
Too early for that. I think he's not in the cult hero realm, because you'd hope he transcends cult hero.
Yeah.
You want him to, because if these are the only goals he ever scores, then perhaps he could fall into that. But
like Forlan.
Yeah, or Falcao.
Yeah.
So I think he was the question mark of the window, the sort of the risky signing of the window, and he's been the last few weeks. He's really proven it a sensible buy.
Yeah, and with him being such a perfectionist, of course, it's. I'm sure he's going to get better and better.
It was an insane story.
Yeah, it was in the MEN. The headline was Šeško is such a perfectionist that he's paid someone to install double glazing at his house to keep out noises from the airport.
I have to imagine they mean like triple glazing. They have to mean triple glazing.
If he's such a perfectionist, why is he living in a house with single glazing that's right next to the airport?
Sounds like he's an idiot. It has to be triple glazing because what's he paying? He must be paying £1 million a year in rent, maybe. I can imagine he's got a house with double glazing.
Double glazing
He's like,
already in it. He's not living in some rundown house.
Yeah. He's such a perfectionist. He's paid for central heating to be installed, so he stops getting so cold at night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what you expect from the MEN, the kind of gutter journalism.
Yes. Has he got a chant, Šeško?
I've not heard.
Yeah, it's what is it? He's Slovenian. He sell out the stadium.
Oh, is it She's Electric?
No, it's it's the tune of Englishman in New York.
Oh, right.
And it goes, Šeško, he's Slovenian. He'll sell out the stadium. And he's something about scoring a load of goals.
Okay.
I think it's rubbish.
You don't like it. Well, Mkhitaryan's song was the same tune. Mkhitaryan. Henrik Mkhitaryan, he's a midfield Armenian.
But surely the genesis of that must have been an alien Armenian. I'm an alien. He's Armenian. But then they couldn't get that to scan, so they had to put the Armenian bit at the other end.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It
could be Mkhitaryan.
Mkhitaryan English, an alien, yeah. I mean, that song only really scans when you sing it in Sting's sort of cod patois.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll catch on. I certainly won't be chanting it.
Yeah, if it does catch on, you'll be.
Well, yeah, I won't be helping it catch on. A few reports of a sort of tepid atmosphere at Old Trafford. I don't think it was I think it was hindered massively by the conceding a goal after 3 minutes. It wasn't boisterous. I think the Palace fans are also a bit flat. I don't know.
I think they were louder than most, but their songs were rubbish.
Yeah, and they were louder when they chanted, but there were also quite long periods where they just didn't bother.
Yeah. I mean, I think Palace fans in general aren't very happy at the minute, which probably contributed. But yeah, it was not the most raucous atmosphere inside Old Trafford, but I don't think I didn't notice it being that much worse than average.
Yeah, it's just something raised on a couple of platforms I've seen. Me and you went.
We did.
Had
We had
a
a
lovely
lovely
day.
time. Yeah.
I was a little worse for wear after the night before, so only had the 2 pints beforehand. But it was a good
the
day.
Same number we have every single game.
That's true.
The sun was out when we were setting off to the game. I thought it was a lovely day to watch the football. And then as soon as we got to the cricket ground, which is where we go before the game, just the life seemed to be sapped out of the universe. It was just bleak. And you're surrounded by concrete. It's a cold place.
It is, yeah. I saw someone raised Brighton have opened a new fan zone at their stadium, which you can go. It's open from like 9 a.m. the morning of the game. And someone had wrongly attributed their 1.5 million match day revenue to just the fan zone, because obviously it includes match tickets as well. And so someone was like, you'd have to sell 215,000 pints in the 6 hours before the game in order to make up this match day revenue. And obviously we've spoken about the new stadium.
Yes. And
I think the big thing would be, because we're giving money to Old Trafford and Lancashire County Cricket Club.
Yeah, instead of
Old Trafford, Man United should be trying to capture that. Obviously the people who go to the old brick pubs are going to keep going to the pubs. They're not going to, they're not going to
leave the tollgate if that's where they've gone for the last 40 years.
No, to go and stand at a fan zone in Old Trafford. But if there's somewhere you can drink at the stadium and socialise at the stadium, I think there is a big market there.
With people you're not sitting with.
Yeah.
Because that's why we don't just go and have a drink in the stadium.
Yeah.
So you can see people who sit in different parts of the stadium to you.
Yeah, I think that would go a long way, and that would be a good source of revenue. And that's so what Spurs do at Spurs Stadium. Your sort of ticket and bag check is done initially like outside the ground.
Right.
And then there's a big concourse inside the ground that's like complete free access, and so everyone's in there. Everyone's in the stadium or in the sort of stadium campus early because you can get in early, and then the queues are much shorter because you don't have to do the patting down and the bag checks.
Yeah, I'm sure that
has to be the way to go.
And I think we'll take a lot of inspiration from Spurs' stadium.
Yes.
Because it's the best example of a brand new state-of-the-art stadium in this country.
Well, apparently the retractable pitch might be contributing to Spurs' dreadful injury record because it's got some weird biomechanics to it that players aren't used to.
Well, I don't know if we'll have a retractable pitch, but I do think they'll definitely get a lot of concerts there. Well, that'll be the hope.
Yeah, you'd hope so. And that's a really interesting, massive tangent. There's an interesting study done about an American football team who moved to a new training ground that is next to a big electricity substation and kept getting a load more. Their rate of like soft tissue injuries went up, and apparently it could well be due to like EMF interference
in their muscles,
in the causing strains and weird sort of, and that's something that basically you'd need such an exposure to it to actually notice any difference, and you'd need such control groups that no one would ever do a study for it because you'd have to sit and do exercise next to a substation for 5 years.
Yeah. And people don't really get soft tissue injuries very often outside of sports.
No.
So it wouldn't be worth doing to the general public.
But this one American football team has apparently discovered this weird, this thing. Yeah, a nice little factoid for you there. Any other points on the Palace game? We didn't really talk about
We'd need to talk about the
penalty incident.
Red card decision.
Yeah.
From where we were sitting, it looked like a definite foul.
Yeah.
It's hard to see because we were at the end. Hard to see whether it was in the box or not.
Yeah.
And
also with things like DOGSO, which is a great acronym, we're always watching the ball. So the people around us, and you may claim to know one way or the other if it's DOGSO, but you've no idea what the state of the rest of the pitch is. When that ball gets fizzed into Cunha, you're looking at Cunha. You don't get a replay in Old Trafford. So
you don't see where the position of the other defenders is.
No. So we were basically speculating.
Yeah. And then because there was a number of things to decide, there was whether it was inside the box or not, whether it was a foul or not, and whether it was
a red card,
DOGSO or not. And because there's no big screens at Old Trafford, they don't really announce these things. It just said checking penalty, which could describe the whole thing, really.
Yes.
That makes it sound like they're checking whether it's a penalty or not, but that counts for whether it's a foul or not and whether it's inside the box or not.
Yeah. And it turns out they were probably checking for DOGSO instead, so they weren't even checking for penalty.
It's a weird one. It's someone around us seemed to, which wound me up. He kept saying constantly, if it's a penalty, it has to be a red card.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand, because most people seem to think if it's a penalty, it can't be a red card for DOGSO.
Yeah.
But that only applies if they've made an attempt to win the ball, which he didn't. He pulled him back.
Yeah.
So that just wound me up.
But I think so. I think he'd understood the double jeopardy rule correctly, which lots of people don't, but had better confidence in his knowledge of whether or not it was a goal scoring opportunity than he should have.
Yeah. So whether it was in the box or not didn't affect whether it was DOGSO or not.
No.
I think, and another rule is that if the foul starts outside the box but carries on inside the box, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
Which is why they gave it as a penalty. But I think the contact carried on inside the box, but I don't think the foul carried on inside the box.
Yeah.
He had his hand on his shoulder and basically let go as soon as he got into the box. And Cunha went down as soon as he got into the box because that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. I think, it's a tough one. It's, we're talking millimeters and, split seconds here, so it's difficult to say. I think if he hadn't given it's not a cop-out, but it's one of them where if he hadn't given the penalty, I don't think they would have given a penalty and overturned his decision. If he'd given a free kick, I don't know, said, that's in the box, actually.
Yeah, I think they might have done.
Really?
I think they would be more likely to turn it from a free kick into a penalty than turn it from him not giving a foul into a foul.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
But so I think the foul is correct the call
Yeah, I
that
think
it's a
he
foul.
did foul, and I think it probably was a clear goals opportunity. But I think he should have given it for the initial pullback as a free
Given the
kick.
free kick.
Because I mean, regardless of whether it's the right decision or not, I said it's a tough one for Palace to take at the minute.
It is,
to have the guy who scored the goal, probably their best defender, to then get sent off and they give away a penalty at the same time.
Yeah.
In a game that United hadn't really offered much in, and they're in terrible form, so they might have been thinking we could do with holding on here.
Yeah, it
and
was
that did change the game.
a tough one. Yeah. I don't know where this stands historically, but this is the 4th game this season. We've faced 10 men for a decent chunk of the game. Spurs, Everton, Chelsea, and now Palace.
And they're all at home as well.
Yeah. And some people would read into that conspiratorially and say...
I've seen there's a Crystal Palace fan who I saw saying Palace would never get that decision in a million years at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
I don't want to think that's true, and I don't believe that is true, that United get favourable decisions at Old Trafford. But lots of people do think it's true.
Yeah, there's also... But, and it's like the sort of the politics thing where if both the left and the right disagree with you, then
like the BBC is the example.
Yes.
If people on the left think it's too far right and people on the right think it's too far left, they must be doing all right.
There are huge swathes of United fans who think that because we're United, we don't get decisions. We don't get that. I mean, there was a good period where there was like 5 or 6 handballs that weren't given, and a lot of United fans were thinking, if it's because we're United and they, people don't like us and people think we need to be reined in. I think everyone thinks that that refs are biased against their team. Yeah, and that's probably them doing a good job.
Aren't very good.
Well, or not doing a good job, but not showing actual institutional bias.
Yeah, no, I
think it's just general incompetence.
Yeah. If they make a wrong decision against your team, I don't think it's because it's your team. I do think every team, even with VAR, they all get decisions wrong against them.
Yeah.
The same Crystal Palace fan, sorry to call him out, not that he's watching, his name's Ollie.
Yeah.
He said about 3 massive decisions that have gone against Palace this season.
Yeah.
But there are loads of massive decisions that have gone against all teams this season.
Yeah.
It's not like they're the only 3 wrong decisions in the Premier League.
Yeah. I saw a really interesting graphic some baseball analytics account put out, and it was a distribution. So obviously you have to, when you're pitching the ball, there's like a square where if it's inside that square, it's a good pitch, and if it's outside, it's a no ball. And umpires call it, and then they analyse it afterwards.
Yeah.
And in the last 20 years, umpires have gotten much, much better. So it used to be there was a big cloud around the square where they'd called it in, and since the last 20 years, umpires have got much, much better at calling them accurately and really refined that skill. And I just think referees just haven't got that incentive to improve any, because that's any wrong decision is supposedly caught. And so if you're calling offsides or you're calling whether something's inside or outside the box, it's like sort of the atrophy of the skill. If you don't need to be good at it to do a good job, you're going to lose that skill. And I think in terms of consistency of decision making, if you can defer to a higher authority constantly, and that it doesn't really matter what you said, because if it's wrong, it'll just get overturned, and no one's there thinking, how did you get the initial call wrong? I mean, you see a bit of that, but very little. All the incentive to actually improve as a referee is sort of gone, been eaten up by VAR.
Yeah, and I definitely think this was a case of the referee choosing not to make a decision on the red card.
Yeah,
and letting VAR. I don't think he had decided, I don't think that's a red card, and VAR said, actually, it is a red card.
Yeah, I think he just thought, I'll let them decide.
They can decide for themselves.
Which was specifically what they didn't want to happen.
Yeah.
We've gotten to a VAR rant again. We need to move on.
Yeah, well, that's the state of it. We were pro VAR, or at least anti talking about VAR for a long time. But no one is safe from criticising VAR at every possibility.
Yeah, because it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Anything else from the game?
There wasn't a lot to write home about.
No, I think
a few of our players didn't have great games, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think there was no one. Sort of Mbeumo and Cunha with the rise of Šeško, chipping in with goals in the last few weeks, and Bowman Cunha's output has been curtailed slightly.
Yeah.
Cunha's not scored in a couple, and Bowman's not scored in a few. So I think they both, and they're sort of victims of changes in formation and tactical tweaks and things that are working because we're still winning games. I think from a tactical point of view, my big issue, I think at the moment, is the width, and I think a lot of people have said that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you play Dalot at right back and Burma in front of him, they both want to sort of invert and come inside, and so you lose a bit of that width. Or you get Mbermo pulling out wide. I think Mbermo's more likely to pull out wide than Dalot is, and then you get Dalot in the centre to create the chance, and Mbermo sort of wasted out on the wing. On the other side, you've got Shaw, who can't really shuttle up and down, so doesn't bother.
And Cunha, who's not really a winger.
Cunha, who just wanders wherever he wants. And then we saw Shaw go off and Mazraoui come on, and Mazraoui was much better in the second half. I think first half he was a bit sort of didn't know what he was doing and sort of ended up in Cunha's spaces quite a lot. But I think when he was after that, and after the red card certainly, he was able to sort of hold his width a bit better. And I think we're missing Dorgu.
Yeah.
And that would be a big, either as a left winger who's going to hold the width or a left back who can do offensive and defensive roles at the same time. We've not really got anyone who can do that.
Yeah, if Shaw's out for a prolonged period of time, we might. Not that, like, Shaw started every single Premier League game for us this season.
Yeah.
And he has his limitations, but I think we'll struggle more if he's taken out of the team.
I think with Dorgu gone as well, yeah. And that's an issue, and it's a problem for them to solve. I'm confident that they will do enough to keep winning games, whether it's playing Dalot at left back and allowing him to invert, or allowing him to sort of hold width and play crosses from deep while Cunha wanders around, and then Mazraoui can hold wider and let Mbermo play inside, or putting Ahmad back on the right. I thought he was quite bright when he came on. Again, because he's playing against 10 men and everyone's a lot more tired. It's an easier shift than starting.
He looked better when he came on than he has done starting the couple of games before.
But there's some interesting tactical choices to be made. I think they need to use the squad a bit better. Everyone still looks a bit knackered. Even the fact that we haven't played a game, we're not playing games in the week. And I think that might be contributing as well. I think there's a bit of rust where we have just
not got the rhythm.
Yeah, we just can't. You can't get the feeling of playing games. And teams will sell you. Players say when they're playing well, you want the next game to come because you're in a good, and 2 days off and then 2 days training and then a day's travel and then that's a much harder routine to maintain consistency through.
Like, not all of our players, but a lot of them are used to playing 2 games a week all the time. Like, it's rare that we're not in Europe. Normally we're in the Europa League, which is constantly Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So they're used to it. So as much as players might sometimes want a break from that, if that's what they've been training for the last 6 years of their career, it's going to be a bit of a lot
of downtime. So there's some interesting puzzles there. I think we've got a good coaching set up to solve these problems and not just get stuck making the same mistakes. We've seen tweaks from week to week, some of them forced, some of them not. And I'd like to see, we'd like to see a bit more rotation, a few more players in the squad, because just purely for sort of interest's sake and for their sake as well.
Yeah, because they're not going to be playing. The sort of fringe players in the squad aren't getting the opportunities in the cups because we're out of both of them and Europe as well. And
I think it's massively hurt. It's not massively hurt, but it's hurt youth involvement as well. We have got a lot of players training with the first team quite regularly who are no way near getting in the matchday squad because there's so many players.
The first team players aren't getting in.
There's players who in another season, a player, if you'd played European football in the week, you get to 60 minutes, then you can swap players around. And at the moment, you're doing more harm if you take Fernandes off 60 minutes. If he can't just play 60 minutes a week, then he's really going to be rusty. So it's an interesting set of circumstances that hopefully we don't find ourselves in again.
Yeah. Well, this week we are playing midweek.
Yeah.
But then we're not playing at the weekend. So
Yes.
that'll sort of balance itself out. I don't like having all these weekends where we don't play.
No, it's
The
rubbish.
international breaks do that enough. They do that job. If I want the occasional break from United, which is rare, and I've got the international breaks for that, but then we've got all these FA Cup weekends as well
Yeah.
since the third round. It's not enjoyable.
No, it's rubbish. Did you see the sort of controversy that there's not going to be any football played over the Easter weekend?
Yeah, they've moved the international break. Haven't they?
Well, they've moved Easter. Easter moves.
yeah,
The international break's usually around the same time.
that's a good point,
Easter's the thing that moves.
Yeah,
And that's been doing that for a while, since they brought in the Gregorian calendar. So,
I mean, it's about time they knock that on the head. It's just ridiculous having a national holiday moving every single year.
yeah, I can't remember what it's caused. Is it like, when do they set Easter? Some weird Catholic dogma thing that sets when Easter is, but I can't remember what it
You
is.
wouldn't have Christmas moving every year, would you?
No, but
And it's not. I understand that we're getting into, territory we don't normally hear. I understand the reasons vaguely why Eid moves.
yeah,
Ramadan moves each year. Has to do with the moon or something. So that's a natural thing, but I don't
Yes.
know what Easter's based on. But I feel like we don't. No one knows what it's based on, so it's clearly not
Yeah.
necessary anymore.
yeah, but we're not. I think it's unlikely to change now. But
Well, now we've said it on the podcast. I think
true, yeah. We
laid
said
down the gauntlet. For
we said we'd
podcasts,
like
so-
Lenny Oro to do some extra training, and he has been.
Yeah,
So hopefully that this is the next on the list of
Mm.
things massive changes we can affect
yeah.
in terms of league
Also,
position.
sorry,
Oh,
the
go on.
international break from next season. The first international break is going to be 2 weekends long.
Ugh.
So that's. I mean, it makes one fewer international break.
Is
And
it
it's-
an autumn one they're getting rid of?
Yeah, so they're combining the September and October one, I think,
Okay.
into one double one in September.
That's like 3 weeks after the season starts.
Yeah,
You have
it's always
2
the
weeks
worst
off.
one when the transfer window's just finished and you're excited for the season to start
Proper.
properly, and then you've got a stupid international break.
That is annoying. In terms of league table, just to get back to United for a minute,
Yeah,
we're up to third.
we are on goal difference, but it all counts.
It's the first time since May 2023 we were finished a game week in third place.
So that was the end of Ten Hag's first season.
Yeah.
We finished third.
Just crept ahead, and we were in sixth when Carrick took over, possibly seventh. But there had been so many weekends of United could win, we can
We get
climb up the
full up,
table,
yeah.
and
We just didn't
we
take those
got-
opportunities.
that gap never got smaller, and the gap to 14th never got smaller, and we sort of hovered around the middle. And now we've put real distance and real, we're 6 points clear of Chelsea now, I think,
Yeah, 6 points.
in sixth, which is massive. We've got, we're closer or as close to Villa above us as we are to.
No, we're ahead of Villa now.
No, sorry, we're almost as close to City above us as we are to Chelsea.
Yeah.
In terms of positions we want to occupy. It's a testament to the good work that Carrick's done and the team have done, and it's sort of unbelievable. I don't think anyone
Yeah.
saw it. Obviously, people said when we won the first couple, maybe
we win every game,
Carrick.
we'll
If
win the
Carrick
league.
wins every game, we might do something remarkable.
I mean, we've only drawn one game.
Yeah,
So it's still possibly true that if we won every game remaining, we would win the league.
it's good. If
City don't really look like dropping points at the minute.
no,
And Arsenal don't look like dropping 10 points.
but if we finished, imagine if we finished 1 point behind Arsenal in second, and it was Jared Bowen's fault we didn't win the league. Difficult to blame that draw and not all the other bad results before
Yeah,
Carrick came in.
Like the 1-0 loss to Arsenal on the first day of the season where Bayern punched it into his own net.
Yeah, would be difficult. It would be harsh on Carrick to say that that's why we didn't win the league when he's won the other
Yeah.
16 games. But yeah, he's joint holder after 9 games, joint with Ange for most points after 9 games.
Yeah. Which, it's not, you expect that to be Mourinho or
Pep or
Guardiola or someone, but Ange Postecoglou's not really the yardstick. It's not the company you want to be in,
no,
given
But-
that he finished 17th the season after that.
yeah, and they got sacked. But it's better than having fewer points.
Yeah, yeah.
It may not necessarily tell you much long term, but he came in the middle of the season with a squad that a lot of people thought had big holes in it, and has simplified a lot of things. And we've seen a lot of the criticism leveled at him is that it's an easy thing to do, or he hasn't had to be an amazing manager to do this. Yet we've seen 3 managers go in at Nottingham Forest and not really make them any better.
Yeah.
We've seen Igor Tudor go in at Spurs and not really make them any better. Rob Edwards at Wolves. I mean, they're better now than they were then, but they're not.
And he's not being measured on how much better they get this season because
no, but it took they have improved, but it took a good few weeks
Yeah.
to actually stop being dreadful. We've seen a lot of managers come in this season. It's been a season of change, and
and they've all had less of an impact than Michael Carrick.
Yeah, so it can't be. It's not just that he's a new manager coming in and doing the basics right. He's obviously got something about him to do this.
Yeah, we're in a really good position now for Champions League. It looks almost certain that there's going to be 5 places in the league.
Yeah.
And I think everyone would take City and Arsenal for granted in there.
Yes.
And we're now the best of the rest. And there's 3 teams that would need to go above us for us to not get Champions League.
Yeah.
We've got to play all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I think, obviously not wanting to get carried away, as always, we're in a really good position from here to get Champions League.
Yeah, definitely.
Villa are not in good form. They're all, everyone in the league basically is in worse form than us.
Yes.
So I don't think it would be catastrophic, but it would take a lot for us to fall away and not get Champions League from this position.
Yeah.
We would have to get so much, our results would have to get so much worse than they have been.
Yeah, we'd have to. It's not just a sort of regression to a mean that is likely. We'd have to start playing a lot worse for that to become likely.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many, there are things that could happen. The squad isn't that resilient. An injury to Bruno, an injury to Casemiro, injury to Maguire maybe could
derail us.
Facilitate a change, a big drop off in form, but they're 3 quite robust players. We're not clutching at straws and saying that we're not in a precarious position.
Yeah.
We're not likely to end up in a precarious position.
Yeah, and I think it would be really good for us as a club and a team to get back into the Champions League after not being in Europe. The bare minimum was getting back into Europe.
Yeah.
The aim was getting in the Champions League, and I heard it said when we lost that Europa League final that it would be really detrimental to this season and probably Amorim's future at United.
Yeah,
the fact that we lost that game, and it could be the same if we fall away from here and not get in the Champions League.
Yeah, it would be a disaster.
It'd be very difficult
in terms
to
of
recover from.
Yeah, not marketable, but sort of atmosphere and mood.
Yeah,
it did happen under Ollie that we had a massive upsurge in form and then sort of curtailed and became not rubbish, but not good enough to get Champions League.
Yeah,
it's sort of like when a team is in the automatic playoff positions for ages, automatic promotion positions for ages, and then drops into the playoffs, and then the mood facilitated by that dreadful run of form basically kills any momentum, and then they often lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw that last season. It was very much a 3-horse race between Leeds, Burnley and Sheffield United for the automatic promotions.
Yeah.
And Sheffield United just fell away towards the end of the season and didn't get promoted.
Yeah. I think if we were to finish this season even just scraping into the Champions League from the position we're in now, it would mean we were so rubbish for the rest of the games that the mood would be quite sour anyway.
Yeah, but I think we would take stock then and say that's been ultimately we've achieved our aim. Maybe Carrick's not the right man, but we're in a good position going forward.
But I think if we can end the season on a high, which we've got every chance to do, sort of a second place finish, getting closer to City, not a second place finish, it's not likely. Third place finish, a good run of games from now to the end of the season, break some of those hoodoos, and then we can be very hopeful at the end of the season, and we can have a project to market to new players, which isn't something they've struggled with. I think they managed to sell the project with Ruben Amorim, and that had a lot of flaws to it that they will have had to compensate for, either in sort of rhetoric or financial terms.
Yeah.
I think there are fewer obvious flaws with Carrick as the head coach,
Yeah.
or they hire a new, shiny, exciting head coach, and then you can sell that while being in the Champions League, and you can sell that. I think we'd be in a good position recruitment-wise. We'd have a bit of headroom because of the move to squad cost ratio. I think that's going to be in our favour.
Yeah.
Worst,
in the Champions League.
worst case scenario for that is getting in the Conference League, because
Yes.
you have to abide by the 70% squad cost ratio, but you don't get any extra revenue.
Yeah, the prize money for the Conference League is nothing compared to the Champions League.
So you've got a much lower, whereas Champions League, you've got a lower ratio but much higher revenues because you're in the Champions League.
Yeah, and the new format of the Champions League, this will be our first time in it.
Yeah.
The revenue is ridiculous. Like, you get several £1 million for winning a game. And
Yeah.
you play 8 games now, so hopefully we'd be able to win a handful of them.
Yeah.
And if you look at the table this season, English teams do really well in the group stage, and you get points based on your league position as well.
Yeah.
So, for not that it's all about revenue, obviously I'd want us to go far in the Champions League, but for revenue, just getting into it guarantees you a certain amount of revenue that would be really, really helpful for us after not being in Europe and going straight out of both cups.
Yes. And in terms of just, attracting players, I think that's the more important thing. There are obviously holes in this squad. If we're going to play not quite twice as many, but,
Good
2/3
few
again
more, yeah.
of games next season, we're going to need enforcements in certain areas. I would be keen to use the academy more. I don't know if next season's the right time for that, or maybe there's a few that still need a couple of years. But I always appreciated what Louis van Gaal said about squad building, which was maintaining a smaller-ish squad to allow players to fill those gaps when they're needed, and to show that there is that pathway for those players to motivate them.
Yeah.
And if you look at what that resulted in, Marcus Rashford, because we had a couple of strikers in the first team, and
who were injured.
then it doesn't take much to get a call up to starting a game, and if Rashford doesn't start that game,
If we have a third striker in the squad who plays that game,
doesn't break through that season, and then end of the season goes on loan, maybe has a bad loan, and then it's a completely different, it's a sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
So having those opportunities there, and even just from a motivation point of view, if Rashford's training every week, seeing that if something happens to him, I need to be ready to go, because Carrick's shown
you believe that you will have a chance.
Carrick it's probably hurting him a little bit that he has so many players to keep happy and so few games to do it in, because I think he's trying to show the other side of being a Man United manager, in that he's been to the last 6 under-21 games, I think.
Yeah, he's been to under-18 games as well.
Yeah, and the under-18 games are usually in the day at Carrington, so that's a lower bar to go to.
Yeah.
But going to Lee Sports Village in the evening, that's that no one wants to do that. No one wants to go to Lee in the evening.
Yeah, he's very much showing how he's not like Amorim in that regard.
Because he can't put players through at the moment because of the squad he's got. And so I hope that that's something that they think of when building the squad.
Yeah, I'm sure if Carrick is the manager, there'll be plenty of opportunities given to youth products if we've got the game time for it.
Because we're not going to be in a... Well, there's 2 ways you can look at next season. We're 6 months into Carrick's project, or whatever you want to call it. We are building towards winning the league, but there's going to be a gap to Arsenal that might be too difficult to overtake in 1 year, or City are going to improve in the summer, be lots of changes, but we can incrementally build on this good run at the end of the season. Or you can look at it as, we're going to finish 10 points behind Arsenal. We can make up 10 points in a season in the market with a big glitzy manager hire and 4 new starters. We could win the league next season.
Yeah.
But I think both of those are valid. I think one of them is obviously riskier, because if you hire an expensive manager and sign a load of players, it's can be a disaster.
And lots of teams have had a good solid manager and thought, we're on the edge of getting to the next level here. Let's get rid of him and get a shiny new manager.
Yeah.
And spend loads of money on foreign players, and then it's blown up in their face.
Yeah, and we had a comment on the last episode from Kieran saying how much of the decision is going to be motivated by the fact that Carrick is going to be a lot cheaper than some of these big Champions League managers. And I think that is something to bear in mind. I think we've said we can't afford expensive mistakes in the market, but we can't afford We can't afford another 25 million to sack a manager
No.
6 months into next season.
Like the amount we've spent on hiring and firing. Well, firing Ten Hag, hiring Ashworth and firing Ashworth, hiring Amorim and firing Amorim. That's so much money.
Yeah. And so you'd have to be a brave man to say, we're going to get a much more expensive manager on a much bigger contract. You know, if you're looking at Luis Enrique, he's on £25 million a year. He's going to want a 3-year contract minimum.
He's going to want guarantees.
He's going to want guarantees. You'd probably have to pay Paris. I don't know when his contract to Paris is.
He's got another year.
Yeah, so you'd have to pay them some settlement to get him out of that. That's, you know, you're looking at a very expensive package. And maybe we're better next season with him. Maybe, but
maybe we're not.
If we win 8 games out of 9 under Carrick, you know, there's not that much better we can be.
He could win 9 games out of 9.
He could. It's unlikely. So I think it's going to have to be. I think a lot of the markers are falling in Carrick's favour at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. That is a something you might not necessarily want them to consider, is how expensive the manager will be, but it's something they will need to consider.
Yeah. But then also there's the sort of the market opportunity cost as well. I think if you look at the 15-16 season, I think there's a lot of teams wishing they'd got their ducks in a row to have a title charge that season because so many weird things happened, you know, that meant that there was an opportunity for someone someone unexpected to win the title.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily the case with next season. I think next season you expect Arsenal to be strong, you expect City to improve, but there is a chance that you go into next season and City, but Pep leaves City, Liverpool sack Slot, Arteta wins the league or doesn't win the league and therefore leaves Arsenal, and then anyone can win the league at that point. No one knows how good anyone is. So,
and everyone says at the end of the season, this team is going to improve, this team's going to make all these signings and improve, and it doesn't always happen that way. Everyone said, or a lot of people said, Liverpool were going to be unstoppable this season because they won the league and then spent 400 million quid and they bought 2 of the Premier League's most expensive ever players. It's like, well, obviously Liverpool are going to win the league again.
Yeah.
And then they've really not
everyone can get better. Everyone tries to get better, and for some teams it has to not work.
Yeah.
It's sort of interesting. I don't know if it's still true. It was a few weeks ago in terms of open play XG created. Every team in the league, apart from United, is worse this season than last season.
Wow.
And if you think through the teams, Arsenal have become more effective than they were last season, but not through open play and not through scoring reliably, creating good chances. City are worse than last season. Liverpool are much worse than last season. Chelsea are about as good as they were last season, but not as slightly worse. Every team in the league has been less good at football, apart from United, who actually did get better this season, but only because of how awful we were last season.
Yeah, we had a long way to go.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting one. I think I wish I had more confidence that they made the right call, but I think they've got, rather than it being there's no good path. I think it was they had a difficult summer to navigate last summer with the lack of Champions League and the unease around the manager, and they managed a decent summer. I think they've got a few. I think they've got a few more paths to a successful summer this time.
Yeah,
and
I'm confident in them to an extent in the recruitment.
Yeah,
based on last summer, which is what we have to look at, given that was their first proper summer transfer window.
Yeah,
it's gone well so far.
Yeah, but it's a different skill set as well this time, because, you know, Lamans wasn't an obvious signing, but a new goalkeeper was an obvious signing. You know, that it's like, you know, a sinking ship. There was a lot of holes last season that could be easily identified and repaired, and now we're sort of a relatively steady ship.
It's a harder window to navigate.
Yeah, in terms of I think signing a new goalkeeper, it was unlikely to make us worse. And signing a new centre forward and a new winger was unlikely they were unlikely to be less effective than Højlund and Garnacho last season.
And Anthony.
They still had to do it, and they still did it, and that's it. You get credit for that. But there is a chance that we sign a new midfielder who isn't as effective as Casemiro, or is effective in different ways. And there's a chance that signing a left winger imbalances, if that's what they want to do, imbalances the squad slightly, unsettles the players. There are challenges.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I have some faith in them.
Yeah, definitely.
We should probably talk about the next game, which is
tomorrow
night, Newcastle away. Carrick will be in his home city.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere... Well, Newcastle generally aren't a team we've enjoyed playing recently. Last season, we had 2 awful games against them.
Yeah.
We lost 4-1 away, and we lost 2-0 at home. And the home game was certainly down there with the worst United performances I've seen.
Were you there?
In the ground, yeah.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was horrible. Xerxes got taken off in the first half and got booed, which I don't agree with, but it was
shocking.
He was a scapegoat. He wasn't the reason we were getting torn apart. But
No.
The whole team were just dreadful, and the atmosphere was rightly very unhappy. The away game, we managed to get in the game at 1-1, and then they were always going to win comfortably. Really, they were just Newcastle last season were a far better side than we were.
Yeah.
And
don't know if that's true at the moment.
No, it's not true.
Another tough result for them at the weekend.
Yeah, they lost at home to Everton. They've won 2 games against Carabag recently.
Yeah,
but they're really having a poor season, certainly by their standards of the fact that they're in the Champions League, and they've done well in the Champions League, but they're not anywhere near qualifying for it again this season.
Yeah,
a lot of fans are starting to turn on the manager. There seems to be a bit of a divide in the Newcastle fans, with some basically refusing to blame the manager or criticise the manager because of what he's done for them, and some saying we have to be realistic here. The manager is doing a terrible job at the minute.
Yeah. They're in that tricky position of having got a lot better under this manager, and now they've stopped getting better. It's always tricky, and teams often fall foul of it.
And people will say, "Be careful what you wish for," if they do decide to move on from Eddie Howe.
We've seen lots of teams do it in the past. I think David Moyes might have some words of warning. For all West Ham fans, because you can't always get better year on year. Some years you have poor years, and you
ride them out, and then you
ride
get
them
better again.
They'll be desperate to win this game. They hate United.
They do,
because we're United and they're Newcastle United, and that's in terms of the hierarchy of where things are. It's never United and Manchester United.
No.
So they're not. They'll be really up for it. It's a tough place to go on a Wednesday night.
The fans will be well up for it. I don't know if the players will. They've been really poor at home this season.
So we've got to turn up. We've got to be sharp and aware of their abilities and their weapons that they can hurt us with. But at the same time, no one, the Everton at home was the only game was the last game we didn't score in.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. We've scored very reliably now, and we've started defending pretty well as well. So.
We've been beating the teams that we should beat, and based on the season so far, we should beat Newcastle. Yeah,
I think we'll be up for it as well. I think the players will be very keen to keep this run going, and it's pretty easy in terms of motivation. It's a pretty easy one for Carrick. You've lost to them, pretty poorly quite a few times recently. Obviously, we beat them at home this season, but it wasn't the best performance. Sort of the death throes of Ruben Amorim.
Yeah.
And
that was Amorim's last win, I believe, as manager.
Yeah, and his 15th win as manager at the same time. That's slightly harsh, but not that harsh. It should be a good game. I think it might not be I think it's one of those games where even if it's not a great performance, you can have a great win.
Yeah.
Palace at home, not a great performance means it's sort of a fairly nothing win.
Yeah.
But Newcastle away, any win is a great win.
Yeah. Probably my favourite trip to Newcastle away from United was, I think it was Van Gaal's first season.
Yeah.
It was a terrible game. Both teams were really bad, and Smalling absolutely should have given away a penalty in the first 5 minutes with quite a blatant trip. And we were pushing for the Champions League at this point, and Newcastle were towards the bottom of the table, but neither team looked any better than the other. But it was still a great game to watch, even though there was no quality in the game. And then, right in the last minute, Tim Krul had the ball, and I don't know, I think it was Rooney pressed him, and he passed it straight to Ashley Young, who scored, and we won 1-0, and the Newcastle fans were fuming that we'd somehow managed to get 3 points from that game. The game deserved a draw because neither team did anything to win it, but we nicked it, and
you'd take that. You'd absolutely take that.
Yeah, the season after we came back to lead 3-2, and then Paul Dummett scored a deflected equaliser in the last minute to make 3-3. That was probably my least favourite experience at Newcastle away.
Wasn't there? Well, there was there 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row where we lost 1-0 to players who scored their only goal of the season.
Oh yeah, that was.
Is it Matty Longstaff?
I think that was
maybe his only goal ever for Newcastle.
No, he scored another one the season after at Old Trafford.
Oh, great!
But we did win that game the second time he scored, I think. But yeah, that was his first ever goal and one of only 2. I don't know. He's playing for like Chester City now or someone. He's not had a glittering career after he scored the winner against United.
Yeah.
That was a painful one. That was under Ollie. That was quite early days under Ollie, I think. Or maybe Ollie's first full season, or Ollie's second full season, maybe. That was a bad one. We've had some bad trips to Newcastle.
Yeah. Was it? It was Bayern Deer. Was it Bayern Deer's lowest ebb, that Newcastle game last season, Newcastle away? Wasn't he awful?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember specifically him.
I think
being
he
awful,
passed it straight to them for at least one of their goals, possibly 2.
Yeah, that does ring a bell actually. Yeah, Garnacho scored for us, I think.
Yeah.
It was a bad one.
But you know,
I'm feeling all right about this.
Lots has changed since then. They've lost some of their best players, and we've gained some of our best players.
And they've signed some players who haven't done very well. Voltemada's injured as well, I believe.
And also not very good.
Well, they've started playing him in midfield.
Yeah.
Again, that's a bit of a divide in Newcastle fans, with some saying Voltemada's really stopped performing, and some saying we signed a really good striker and he kept scoring, and now we've made him bad and we're playing him out of position and we're expecting too much from him.
Yeah. He did get worse first, and then they put him in midfield, I think.
I think so, yeah. But I think he probably wasn't getting the service up front, so they put him. But I don't know which side of this divide I'm on, because I'm not a Newcastle fan. I don't watch enough of them.
We'll see what happens. I'm feeling pretty good for it.
Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic, which probably means we'll lose.
Yeah. Where are you going to watch it? You could say that into your mic.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll make plans. We'll decide something.
Yeah.
And then weekend off, which is annoying. But I don't know, when are we going to wait till next Monday to record?
We might as well.
Yeah, and we can talk about
the same number of games, you know.
Yeah. So I'm hoping I'll get this uploaded before the Newcastle game, because otherwise it's rubbish to listen to. I mean,
most of it still stands.
It does, yeah.
Stuff about the Palace game.
Yeah. But I'll get it up before then.
Yeah. So make sure you listen as soon as it comes out.
Yeah. Well, they won't know that until they've already listened to it. So.
Oh yeah. That's a very good point. Thank you for listening as soon as it came out, or you might be gutted that you didn't.
Yeah, if only you'd listened to this bit first before deciding whether or not to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone has, maybe people listening after they've seen the Newcastle game,
laughing at us.
Yeah,
thinking,
wow, they're such optimistic fools.
Oh, to be young and naive.
Or maybe they'll be thinking, wow, they got it spot on. We did win.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll already know.
Where in the world you're watching from, you know.
We'll already know if we were right or wrong by the time they let us know.
Yeah, but let us know whether you watched before or after the Newcastle game.
Yeah.
You've got to get the engagement up, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'll do a graph maybe of who watched it before and who watched it after.
Yes. It'll be one before and one after.
All right. Well, it's an interesting graph, you know. Well, we'll see what happens. Any final words?
We've not really talked about the other games in the Premier League.
Oh, true, yeah. We usually do that.
Chelsea lost, which was good for us.
Yeah.
Liverpool, it was a bizarre game against West Ham. They scored 3 goals from set pieces and won 5-2.
Yeah. Someone said it was a very post-Fergie United sort of win, where at no point did they look any good. But they just won, because that's just all.
Managed to score a few more goals than the other team did.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for United.
Yeah, Villa lost to Wolves, which means Derby's record is safe for another season.
Yeah,
11 points. Wolves every season. Well, quite a few seasons, not every season.
Some seasons get blown out of the water pretty early on.
Last season, definitely with Southampton, and this season, 100% with Wolves. Lots of people wondered whether it could be broken or were confident that it would be broken. And Wolves have beaten it with 10 games to go.
Yeah.
It's not going to be beaten. 11 points is ridiculously low. They got 11 points by like February.
Yeah.
And then didn't get another point.
Yeah, it's what makes it impossible is it involves starting off rubbish, which lots of teams do, and not getting better for any period of the season, just remaining dreadful. Like Wolves, 2 points after 12 games, something they had this season. 2 points after
18 games, I think.
They would have to stay that bad or slightly better, marginally better for the whole season. And no one's ever going to do that.
No.
There's no.
I think Derby sacked 2 managers that season, and they signed quite a few players in January to try and rescue the season. And
but you'd have to do both of those things dreadfully as well.
Yeah.
Like, not even a single player can... Because if a single player comes in and has half an impact, he can win you 5 points.
Yeah.
And 5 points will take you over the top.
Yeah.
It would be It would take a miracle for someone to do it.
Yeah.
And miracles don't happen very often.
No. So, yeah, it was a good weekend for United, Villa, and Chelsea losing. City managed to hold on. City, they didn't play very well against Leeds. Leeds had quite a lot of chances, but it doesn't really matter. City you just felt like there was an inevitability that City were going to win the game.
Yeah, I saw that there was a interesting tactical thing Pep did where for goal kicks, the 2 players in the box were Rodri and Bernardo Silva.
Oh, right.
And so it was Donnarumma passing to them and the centre halves in front of them. And it didn't work at all. It lasted about 5 minutes and then they had to swap back because everyone was in the wrong place and they kept giving the ball away. But it was kind of...
you have to try these things.
Yeah,
you know?
Someone's got to try it. And it didn't work and that's fine. And Pep will try something else next week. And more often than not, they do work.
Yeah, Arsenal beat Chelsea, which after they had those bad results against Wolves and Brentford, to then go and beat Spurs and Chelsea, is big for them.
Yes.
They were close to not winning against Chelsea, even though Chelsea had 10 men.
Yeah, Chelsea had 10. Yeah, because Chelsea nearly equalised.
Yeah.
Chelsea sort of... They were quite boring and sort of passive and not very good at it. And then when they got down to the last few minutes and 10 men, they were like... 1 goal there. Yeah, we can... And then they started being a bit more chaotic, and that's what they're better at. Their players, when the game's more frantic, they come to life really, and they almost pulled one back.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and so Arsenal march on.
That was a good result for us. It's Chelsea Villa tonight or tomorrow night. It'll be tomorrow night.
Yes.
Which could be an important result for us.
Draw probably, or even a Chelsea win,
or maybe a Villa win, and then for Chelsea to fall away.
And then we're basically guaranteed,
one team to just keep falling away, and then the top 5, there'll be a bigger gap between 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
Might one.
Yeah. If we go, we could go 9 points clear of Chelsea, which would be, you'd imagine, not quite nailed on, but
no, but it would
closer than we are now. But like you say, if in order for us to drop out, all 3 of them need to overtake us.
Yeah.
So any of them dropping points at any point is good.
All 3 results there are good for us, really.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yes, you said that. I've got to call you up on this at this point. You've said we'll see what happens too many times.
We will.
We will.
We won't see what happens.
You're not wrong.
Not watch.
We will see what happens, and boys will be boys. But yeah, doesn't need to.
Okay. Wow.
We're just trying to. We've got to help each other become better at podcasting.
I started with
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. The host of Fear Factor.
Yes. Well, we'll see what happens.
See, it's a very
on the podcast.
Comforting place to fall back to.
But yes, thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, means a lot.
Another good Red Army reaction, I would say.
Yeah.
I always say we'll be back next Monday, but to them it's not Monday.
No, we'll be back here next Monday.
They don't care what day we record on.
No, because they don't know that it's not Monday now. Although we have talked about the game being tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
quite a lot.
The game's on Wednesday.
Yeah, which is also tomorrow.
Yes, we are recording a day late this week, but you'll have your work cut out to get it out. But that's what we do it for.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
No, I
you'd
wouldn't.
thrive on the
We need
pressure.
the pressure, the deadline.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you out there.